You didn't move to China for spiritual enlightenment. You didn't come here to find your chi or learn the ancient ways of tea ceremonies in a misty mountain temple. You came because you were 27 years old. Your marketing degree from a mid-tier state university was about as useful as a screen door on a submarine, and you owed the bank $40,000. You did the math. The math pointed east. Your plan was Shanghai, the city of the future, the Pearl of the Orient, where skyscrapers seem to germinate from the concrete overnight and the air smells of ozone, fried oil, and wet cement. You arrive with a Zed visa, arranged by an agency that operates out of a basement in Hong Kong, and you bring with you the specific, distinctive arrogance of a Westerner who still believes deep down that the world revolves around the Atlantic Ocean. Shanghai corrects you in the first week. It doesn't welcome you. It assaults you. It is a sensory battering ram. It is 26 million people fighting for space on the Metro Line 2 at People's Square during rush hour. You feel like a single ant trying to navigate a colony that has existed for 5,000 years. You are functionally illiterate, deaf to the nuance of the tones around you, and sweating through your shirt in 90% humidity that feels like a warm, wet towel wrapped around your face. You settle into the grind. You become a prop, a foreign expert. You teach English to the children of real estate magnates and tech investors in the Gubei district. These kids are 6 years old, dressed in Burberry trench coats that cost more than your first car, and they go by names like Apple, Tiger, or Seven. You correct their pronunciation of the sounds while their nannies hover in the back of the room, scrolling through Douyin, watching you with the same detached interest they would show a zoo animal. You live for the weekends. You drink overpriced imported IPAs at bars in Jing'an, surrounded by other expats who talk about getting out while renewing their contracts for the third year in a row. You convince yourself you are living an adventure. You tell your friends back home that it's dynamic. But really, you are just floating. You are a ghost in a machine you don't understand. Then you meet May. She isn't the lotus flower stereotype your friends back home imagine. She isn't submissive. She isn't quiet. She is a logistics manager from Chengdu, and she cuts through life with the precision of a high-speed train. You meet at a hot pot restaurant where the air is thick with the scent of chili oil and numbing peppercorns. She laughs with her mouth open. On that first date, she orders spicy chicken feet and watches you, eyes narrowing, waiting to see if the Lao Wai has the stomach for it. You eat it. You choke down the cartilage in the heat, tears streaming down your face, and she smiles. It's not a polite smile. It's a smile that says, "Okay, you'll do." You fall in love at the speed of Shanghai, which is to say, fast, intense, and ruthlessly pragmatic. 3 months in, you move in together. 6 months in, you are discussing marriage. It isn't a long romantic courtship, it's a merger. May explains that in China, dating without the intent of marriage is just playing hooligan. You don't want to be a hooligan. You want her. You want the way she grounds you in this chaotic city. Then comes the audit. Meeting the parents. Her father is a former government official with a face made of stone. He sits on the sofa of your small apartment, smoking Chunghwa soft-pack cigarettes, the red ones with the gold lettering that cost 70 RMB a pack. The smoke smells rich, sweet, and heavy. He doesn't ask you about your dreams. He asks about your lineage. He asks about your father's profession. He asks about your savings account. Her mother is different. She serves you tea, but her eyes are constantly scanning you like a shopper checking the bruising on a pear at the wet market. You can feel her calculating the genetic and economic risk you pose to her daughter. But May holds your hand under the table. Her grip is tight. It's the only anchor you have. You get married at the Civil Affairs Bureau. No church, just red booklets and official stamps. You rent a modern apartment in the former French concession on a street lined with London plane trees that drop their leaves in the autumn, turning the pavement into a carpet of gold. You buy plants that die because you forget to water them. You adopt a stray cat that survives out of pure spite. And then Leo is born. When Leo arrives, the dynamic shifts. In China, you learn quickly that a child does not belong to the parents. A child is a project. A child is the collective property of the extended family. A child is the retirement plan, the legacy, and the only thing that matters. May's parents arrive from Chengdu like a tactical unit. They practically move into your spare room. Your privacy evaporates. The apartment smells constantly of herbal medicine and boiling soup. The TV is always on, blaring variety shows at maximum volume. You are pushed to the margins of your own home. You are the biological father, yes, but culturally, you are a clumsy assistant. You don't know how to dress him warmly enough. You give him water that is too cold. You are constantly corrected. But when the night comes and the grandparents retreat to their room, you have him. You hold Leo. He smells like milk and baby powder. You look at his face, a perfect blend of your nose and May's eyes, and the noise of Shanghai stops. The construction drills, the honking taxis, the shouting vendors, it all goes silent. You establish a ritual. It becomes your religion. Every night, you tell him the story of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. You don't read it from a book. You perform it. You do the voices. You act out the kung fu battles. You are the stone monkey bursting from the mountain. You are the great sage equal to heaven. Leo, even at 2 years old, becomes obsessed. He won't sleep until Daddy Monkey defeats the demons. He falls asleep holding your pinky finger. His grip is surprisingly strong. You think, this is it. This is why I came here. This is my route. But the city outside the window is changing. The economy begins to sputter. The golden age of expat life is fading. Inflation is rising. The pressure on May becomes visible. She comes home later and later. The lines around her eyes deepen. Her parents start talking about the hukou, the household registration system. In Shanghai, without a local hukou, getting Leo into a top-tier public school is a nightmare. It requires property ownership, millions of RMB, and connections you simply don't have. Private international schools are an option, but the tuition is astronomical, more than your annual salary. The grandparents begin a whisper campaign. Chengdu, they say. In Chengdu, we know people. In Chengdu, we have Guanxi. In Chengdu, the family owns an apartment in a luxury compound right next to the best primary school in the province. It starts innocently. It starts with logic. Just for the summer, May says one evening, avoiding your eyes. Shanghai is too hot. The humidity is bad for Leo's eczema. My parents can take him to Chengdu for July and August. He needs to connect with his grandparents. He needs to improve his Mandarin. You feel a knot in your stomach, a primal warning. But you look at the spreadsheet of your finances. You look at May's exhaustion, You agree. You drive them to Hongqiao railway station. You watch them walk through the security gates. Leo turns around and waves. He is holding the Monkey King action figure you bought him. You wave back. You tell yourself it's just 8 weeks. The apartment is deafeningly quiet. You work. You pick up extra shifts. You count the days. The video calls on WeChat start daily. Then they become every other day. Then twice a week. Every time you call, there is a reason Leo can't talk. He's sleeping. He's playing outside. The internet connection is bad. Grandma took him to the park. When you do see him, the screen is shaky. He looks distracted. He looks different. He is tanned. He is speaking rapid-fire Sichuan dialect with his grandfather off-screen. You say, "Hey, buddy, it's Daddy Monkey." He looks at the camera, confused for a split second, before his grandmother pulls the phone away to show you a new outfit she bought him. You feel it slipping. You feel the filter being applied. You are being edited out of the narrative. August ends. May returns to Shanghai alone. She sits at the kitchen table. She doesn't take off her coat. She looks at her hands. "He's staying," she says. "It's not a question. My parents enrolled him in the school there. It's better for him. The air is cleaner, the food is better, and—" She pauses, and this part cuts the deepest. He is Chinese. He needs to be raised Chinese. If he grows up here with you confused, he will have no future here. He will be a foreigner in his own country. You scream, you argue, you threaten. But May is a logistician. She has already run the numbers. She has already moved the cargo. The decision has been made by the board of directors, her parents, and she is just the messenger. Divorce isn't a debate. It's a decree. You go to a lawyer in a high-rise office near Nanjing West Road. The air conditioning is set to freezing. The lawyer is a sharp man who speaks perfect English, and he charges 3,000 RMB an hour to destroy your hope. He lays it out for you. In China, custody battles are rarely won by foreigners, especially fathers. The courts favor the mother. They favor the stability of the extended family. They look at the best interest of the child, which in this system means who has the money, who has the housing, who has the grandparents to provide child care. You are a foreigner on a work visa. You live in a rented apartment. You have no family network in the country. To the court, you are a flight risk. You are instability personified. And then, the darker implication. The lawyer leans in, lowers his voice. Your father-in-law has connections. If you make this ugly, if you try to fight this in public, your work permit renewal is coming up next month, isn't it? It would be a shame if there were administrative delays. You could be deported, and then you will never see the boy again. You sit there in that leather chair, and you realize the size of the wall you just hit. It is the Great Wall, and you are on the wrong side of it. You don't go back to America. You can't. The idea of being in a different time zone than Leo, the idea of being 12,000 miles away, it is physically painful. It feels like an amputation. So you stay. You move out of the French concession. It's too expensive for one income. You move to a smaller gray apartment in Putuo district. The view is of a highway overpass and a neon sign for a foot massage parlor. You take freelance translation jobs, manuals for dishwashers, corporate brochures for cement companies, boring soul-crushing work that pays the rent. The agreement never written down but granted by the benevolence of the family, is one visit a month, a supervised dinner in Chengdu. This is your life now. You live for the third Saturday of every month. You book the high-speed train. It's not cheap. The journey is 12 hours round trip. 6 hours there, 2 hours of dinner, 6 hours back. You wake up at 5 a.m. You take the metro to Hongqiao. You board the train. You watch the Chinese countryside blur past at 300 kilometers per hour. Rice paddies, factories, endless rows of identical apartment blocks. You rehearse what you're going to say. You practice your Mandarin tone so the grandparents won't mock you. You arrive in Chengdu. It's humid, overcast. You take a taxi to the restaurant they chose. It's always a loud, busy place, a private room where they can control the environment. You walk in. Leo is there. He is 4 years old now. He is wearing clothes you didn't buy, a red vest, stiff trousers. He looks like a miniature version of his grandfather. He is eating with chopsticks skillfully. He looks up. He sees you. For a second, there is a flicker of recognition, but it's shy. It's the look a child gives a distant uncle who visits once a year. He smiles, but he doesn't run to you. He stays in his chair. May is there. She looks tired, but hardened. She nods at you. The grandparents sit across the table watching you like hawks. They speak to Leo in rapid Sichuan dialect. You catch only fragments. Eat your vegetables. Sit up straight. You sit next to him. You feel giant, clumsy, and foreign. You try to ask him about school. He answers in monosyllables. He looks at his grandfather for approval before answering you. The waiter brings the food. The lazy Susan spins. You feel the clock ticking. You have 90 minutes left. You reach into your backpack. Your hand trembles slightly. You pull out the old, battered Sun Wukong action figure. The paint is chipping on the staff. It's the one he left behind in Shanghai. You set it on the table. The noise of the restaurant seems to fade. The grandparents stop chewing. May freezes. Leo stares at the toy. His eyes widen. A spark ignites behind them. It's a memory, buried under months of dialect training and cultural reprogramming. But it's there. You don't say anything. You just nudge the Monkey King forward, you make the pose, you clear your throat, and you do the voice. Low, mischievous, raspy. Orisama wa, Sun Wukong. You pantomime the staff spinning. Leo's face cracks. The politeness falls away. The training falls away. He lets out a laugh. It's a belly laugh. It's May's laugh from that first date. It's the laugh of the boy who held your pinky finger in the dark. He grabs the toy. He makes the monkey screech. He looks at you right in the eyes, and for 10 seconds, the wall is gone. For 10 seconds, you are not the foreigner, not the ex-husband, not the mistake. You are Daddy Monkey. Daddy, he shouts in English, fight the demons. You play, right there on the tablecloth, amidst the dishes of mapo tofu and steamed fish. You play with a desperation that terrifies you. You are trying to pack a lifetime of fatherhood into 5 minutes of play. Leo, the grandmother's voice cuts through the air like a cleaver. Chi Fan, eat rice. The spell breaks. Leo freezes. He looks at his grandmother. The joy drains out of his face. He puts the toy down. He picks up his chopsticks. The dinner ends. You stand outside the restaurant on the damp sidewalk. May brings him out. The grandfather is already in the car, engine running. You kneel down. You want to hug him, to refuse to let go, to cause the scene the lawyer warned you against. But you don't, because you know if you do, they will cut off next month. Be a good boy, you say. Your voice cracks. Leo looks at you. He is clutching a piece of candy his grandfather gave him. He looks distracted. The moment of connection is already fading, washed away by the immediate reality of the sweet in his hand. Bye-bye, he says. He gets in the car. The door slams. The black Audi merges into the traffic of Chengdu. You go back to the station. You get on the train. 6 hours back to Shanghai. You get home at 1 a.m. Your apartment is silent. You walk into the second bedroom. It's empty. Just a desk and a bookshelf. On the shelf, you place your passport. You haven't used it in 3 years. Next to it, you place a duplicate Monkey King toy you bought, just in case he lost the first one. You pour yourself a glass of cheap baijiu. You stand by the window and look out at the city. The lights of Shanghai stretch out to the horizon. 26 million people. The energy is electric. The future is being built right in front of you, but you are stuck in the past. You realize then that you aren't an expat anymore. You aren't a resident. You are a satellite. You are caught in the gravitational pull of a child who is slowly forgetting your face, orbiting a world you are no longer allowed to land on. You check the calendar. 29 days until the next dinner. You drink the baijiu. It burns. You hope he keeps the toy. You hope he plays with it when they aren't looking. Because if he forgets the story, if he forgets the Monkey King, he forgets you. And in this city of millions, being forgotten is the only true death. That wraps it up for today. The story you just heard is fiction. But if you've ever lived alone in a foreign country, you know that the loneliest moments aren't when you're by yourself. They're when you're in a room full of people you love. But you realize you no longer speak the same language, literally or emotionally. If this one hit different, drop a comment and tell me which part stayed with you. I've got more stories like this coming, so hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one.